returning to you from Shari's Low Carb Kitchen. We are back now with our fully brewed coffee, and we are ready to start the straining process. This is the most tedious part of this. It's not so much time consuming because you can start it draining and walk away and do things and then come back and drain some more. It's just a little tedious. So what you're going to need is a sieve, coffee filters, a bowl, and then a big enough container to hold the coffee. Depending on the strength that you use, the amount of coffee beans that you used will dictate how many times you need to filter it. I typically filter 2 times through unless I see that the coffee filter still has like a lot of sludge left on it and it's taking a really long time to drain. Then I will go through and do a 3rd time. So the first thing that we're going to do is open it up. One thing you don't want to do is squeeze the grounds because you're going to upset them and release more of the acid. So what I do is I just slowly pull it out so it just naturally squeezes on the mouth of the jar. Because I want to get as much of the coffee out as possible, but I don't want to squeeze hard. So it's still dripping. I don't know if you can see it. It's still dripping from the bag. So I just kind of take my time with this. Now, if you chose not to use a milk bag or you have a different filter, obviously this won't apply to you. All right, and I just set that in the bowl. Now coffee will drain out of there, and that's completely, sometimes I'll like hang it on something and let it drip, and then I'll filter that out as well. It's completely a personal preference. So then what you're going to do is you are going to place the coffee filter in your sieve. The first strain is going to be the one that takes the longest, because there still is coffee sediment in here. Even though we used the nut milk bag, there's still going to be sediment and sludge at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour through a little bit just to kind of show. And then like right now, what I would typically do is walk away, go do whatever it is that I needed to do, and then I would come back. It's going through fairly fast, but I just want to be able to show the camera the sediment that is there so you can understand why we're filtering it out. You totally could just drink this just as is. It's not very, it doesn't seem very appealing to me to do it like that. So I really prefer to do it like this. Usually I don't do this, I'm just getting it through quicker because of the sediment, it starts to clog up. So typically, especially the first brew through, I will do smaller amounts, let it set, then I replace the coffee filter. So you will go through a fair amount of coffee filters, but it's like once a week, once every 2 weeks, and the filters are relatively cheap. And if you think about it, if you're brewing coffee every day in a regular coffee machine, how many filters do you go through? 7, if you're having it every day. So there's actually a lot of sediment in this one. And I am just going to pause this for a moment, and well, we may actually be able to time lapse this, but I think I'm just gonna, it's almost done. And I'm not gonna video all the rest of it. So if you can actually, see. So this is, you see, that's all sludge in there. That's the sediment that is still clogging it up. So that's what I don't want to end up in my coffee mug. So this is what the filter looks like after that first pass through. So that's why I filter, and I filter so carefully. So I'm gonna actually filter through the rest of this, and then I will be back to show you the very final filter and what it looks like and what the jar looks like, so you can kind of see the sediment. Okay, so we have gotten through our first round of straining. This is the jar, and you can see there still is some sediment in there. I did go through 4 coffee filters because they get clogged up with the sediment. So this is one of the ones toward the end, so you can see all of that. This is the very last one of the first thing. That is all the coffee sediment. So even though I used a nut milk bag, it's not like it's a lot of grounds and stuff. You still have that real fine sediment that comes out of the mesh. There's just nothing that you're going to be able to do about that. This is why I strain it, because that's like a melted chocolate bar, and I don't want to be consuming that. So I just wanted to keep that and show you. So what I typically do is I rinse out the jar in an effort to save time. I have an already rinsed jar, and I set aside my sieve, pour the coffee back in here. Now, as you can see in here, there still is some sediment around, hence why I do a second strain. So I do rinse that out as well. And then you just go back through and you do the same thing that you did the first time. It's going to go a lot quicker though, because there's hardly any sediment in here. So as you can see, we'll put this in, and it's just draining nice and fast. I'll show you the filter, what it looks like. This is what it's going to look like all the way through, because there's really no more sediment. So once you see this filter, if yours does have more sediment, or like when you get to the very last one and it still is looking a little icky, go through and do it again. But that's really a personal choice. There have been times where it's just the filter keeps getting clogged. Maybe there was more grounds that actually escaped, and I will go through and do a third time. But for the most part, 2 is sufficient, and it gets all the main stuff out. You just know, that you didn't miss anything. So this actually, in like the 30 seconds, and I filled it up to almost the rim, is just about done. When the paper starts getting a little bit saturated, it does take a little longer for it to get through. But really, for the most part, it's done. So if you look, it's just a wet filter. There's literally nothing on there. So you're gonna finish filtering this out, and then you're just gonna store it in your refrigerator. And then have fun making the lattes, which you'll see the third video for that after. But yeah, with that, it's just super easy. So it's not really that it's very time consuming. It's just a little more tedious, but it still is overall better for you. You can buy cold brew in the store, but when I can make it for pennies, literally like 50 cents for 12 cups versus paying $5 or more, and knowing that it's organic and knowing that I can play with the flavorings, to me it's worth the time. And it always feels better when you do something yourself, I think anyway, than going and buying at the store. But also it's just fun, and I feel more accomplished. And it's like once every week and a half to 2 weeks, depending on how much you drink. You don't have to dirty a percolator. You don't have to, dirty a French press every day. So you're really just getting, one day every week and a half to 2 weeks that you're washing a few things. And you get more antioxidants than hot brewing. You can drink this iced too. I drink it iced in the summer, flavored up with the sweeteners or whatever, but I'll drink it iced. And then obviously I don't heat the heavy whipping cream. I'll do a mix of heavy whipping cream and nut milk and just pour it right in there and maybe sprinkle some cinnamon on it. Drink it with a straw. It's so good. So I hope that this helps. If you've ever had any questions or wondered how you do a cold brew, I hope maybe this method gives you some encouragement to try it on your own. Maybe find a method that works for you. Maybe this method doesn't work for you. Maybe you want a different combination. But hopefully it gives you the encouragement to experiment and play with it. The coffee grounds that I used are, I threw away the bag because I put it in a container. Velvet Moon from Costco, and I get like the big whatever size bag, and during normal times, not quarantine times, I can grind it right at Costco. They've got a grinder. The grinder is sadly not being used right now. They have it taken away, so I have to grind it at home. But overall, it's not bad at all. I did get a different kind that was a little bit cheaper for making coffee extract, because like I said before, one of the videos, one of the tutorial videos that I want to do coming up is going to be making extracts. So some of the ones that I have in mind, I want to make I make my own vanilla extract already, and I'll show you that, but I still have a lot made, so I'm not going to like actually make it. But I want to make chocolate extract, and you can do that with cocoa nibs. I want to make coffee extract. I want to make mint extract. I would like to make some hazelnut extract along with almond extract, and maybe even some macadamia nut extract. We'll see how that goes. Oh, one of the other things that it was just in my brain and it escaped. I was going to say that you could mix in with your coffee. It just completely escaped my head, so I don't know. But you can see I am almost through doing this second filter, and I kind of wanted to just drag this out a little bit just so I could show you the very last filter and what it is going to look like. You're okay, sweetie. So yeah, this one's actually done. So this is going way faster than the first one, but I got a lot of stuff done during the first filtering because it's not like I stand here and watch it. I want to sit here and watch coffee filter. So this is actually going to be the last pass through. And look at that. No sediment on the bottom. The jar is completely clean. It's draining through really, really fast. So that's just super, super easy. That's just going through nice and fast. Kind of toying around with making some bacon extract, but I'm not exactly sure how good that might taste in coffee. Could you imagine maple bacon coffee? That does sound kind of intriguing. I mean, you're gonna have bacon ice cream, so why not have maple bacon coffee? Oh, another really cool thing that you can do is if you get just heavy whipping cream, you can easily make that into whipped cream and just top that right on top of your coffee. So that's really a fun thing to do too, because like right now all the rage is whipped coffee, which uses instant coffee, and it's fairly good. I've made some keto versions of that, but why not have whipped cream on top of your coffee? Then you kind of get the best of both worlds. And so that's it. This is completely strained. Again, just a wet filter. So while yes, I did use a few filters, you know, if you're making a pot of coffee every day, you're going to use those filters anyway. If you have a Keurig, yeah, you're not going to use the filters, but you're still spending a lot of money on the filters themselves. I mean, on the pods. So either, no matter what way you cut it, you're still throwing something away. You don't have to filter like I do, but as you saw on what the filters caught, that's the reason that I do it. So I hope that this video was helpful to you. I hope you go and have some coffee fun, and I hope that you share with me what you have made and some of your concoctions. And if anyone beats me to trying the bacon maple coffee or maple bacon coffee, you have to let me know if it was disgusting or if it tasted good, because it just kind of popped into my head because I'm going to be cooking up some bacon, and I'm into making all, you know, the extracts and everything. So oh, I know what else it was that escaped my brain. Couple of the other things that I will brew with my coffee. So when I put the grounds in, I will sometimes do dandelion root granulars and chicory root granulars, organic, and it just gives it a little more zing, a little more pep. And dandelion root is actually really good for you. There's a lot of health properties with that, and as most of you know, I'm very much into the healthy aspect of things. So things that we can do using our food and whole food concentrated supplements, so there's some good things about chicory root and dandelion root that both have really nice health properties, and mix them in with the coffee is pretty yummy. If I want something hot and I'm not in the mood for tea, but I've already like met my limit of coffee that I have for the day, I will use my French press and I will make up a dandelion and chicory root mock coffee, and I'll do 4 cups of that because that's what my French press is. And then I strain that, and I have the granulars. Oh, I can actually show you what they look like. Hang on. So I get mine from Frontier because that's the best price that I found. We have a local co-op, so we get really good pricing. But you can get this, you can order these on Amazon as well. So this is the roasted dandelion granulars. And these smell amazing. They just look like little coffee grounds. literally. And they taste really good, and there's a lot of good health properties with them. And then this, the chicory root, smells pretty good too. And again, these just look like little coffee grounds. So sometimes I'll add them in when I'm brewing. Other times I will just brew them up by themselves with boiling water, leave it set for 4 minutes, and then drain it from the French press. I'll have a cup with that and maybe flavor it up with some extracts. Then I put the rest in the refrigerator. Sometimes, if I have that already brewed in the fridge, if I'm making coffee, I'll use less of my concentrate, and I'll add some of the brewed dandelion and chicory root, and then some water. So I kind of just do like a mix, and then I'll still add like the froth milk on there. I feel better because like I remembered what I wanted to tell you before I stopped the video and went, I meant to say that. So I actually think I got everything in that I wanted to say. I hope that this helped some, and if you use my method, let me know. If you have a different method that works better for you, do tell, because I always like to look for, you know, making things easier or whatnot. This is just what works for me. And I hope you have a good rest of your weekend. If it's the weekend when you're watching this, stay safe, stay healthy, and we will chat again over extracts.